health, and when you think of health, you might think of your physical health. But what about your mental health? That is so important to talk about as well. So we want to bring in Shirlette McCullough, who is a licensed mental health counselor. Shirlette, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me today, Stephanie. Happy New Year.
Oh my gosh, Happy New Year to you as well. So again, I do want to talk about this. You know, health is usually generally at the very top of everyone's New Year's resolution list, but I think most people automatically go to physical health, but mental health is so important as well. Why should people prioritize their mental health?
Well, as you said, Stephanie, at the top of the year, most of us were getting our minds ready to get our physical bodies in shape. And a lot of us move away from thinking about our minds and really thinking about our mindsets to really move towards those things that we really want to accomplish. But just to put things in perspective, sometimes when we make these goals and we have these things that we want to accomplish, we're very motivated at the beginning of the year, and by mid-February we're burned out and we're not into moving towards those goals. But if we start out working towards our mental health, those are the things that will help us accomplish those goals.
And I think when we talk about mental health, the idea can be very overwhelming for people. So when it comes to making those small steps towards making sure that we are at our best, what would you recommend people start to do? What are some of the small steps people can do today, right now, to really start their journey towards better mental health?
So I would say starting on a day-to-day basis, doing your mental health check-ins, just checking in to see how you're feeling. Not just about what you're thinking, but how you're feeling, and really paying attention, being intentional about what you're feeling, and pay attention to your stressors that you have going on in your life. A lot of adults talk about things like anxiety, depression, and those things like that, and that's because there are a lot of stressors in our lives that we really don't pay attention to that really affects our mental health. And getting a handle on that at the beginning of the year will help us have a better, healthier wellness year around our mental health.
A lot of times when we talk about stressors, like you mentioned, we feel like it's out of our control. We can't always control finances. We can't always control the economy. So when we are dealing with these feelings of anxiety or stress over circumstances that we can't control, how would you recommend folks approaching that?
So it's the same thing around happiness, right? A lot of us feel that happiness has to do with our external things. Happiness really has to do with how we feel internally. And in reference to what you were asking, paying more attention to what we can control versus what we can't control. So we can control our mood. We can control our environment. So there are a lot of uncertainties after the pandemic that a lot of us are dealing with in our families, in our marriages, our relationships that we have no control over. But moving towards thinking about and focusing on being intentional about those things that we can control. It is definitely a mood booster and a way to control our wellness.
And I think, you know, I think it's interesting and important for people to understand that there is a correlation between physical health and mental health. And if you're not mentally well, that can actually result in physical ailments. So what is that correlation and why is that significant?
It's extremely significant because there are a number of things that starts in our minds that definitely manifest physically. So sometimes you can be going through a very anxious state in life. You can be going through a very sad time in life, and it can feel like you're having some physical ailments, but actually it's your mental health. And just like the World Health Organization says, without mental health, there is no physical health. And you can always, a lot of us feel that because I don't have a mental health diagnosis, I am mentally healthy. And that's just not true. You can have a lot of things going on, some anger, some unresolved resentment, and those things can show up in your day-to-day life, causing those feelings of physical problems when it's actually your mental things that you need to pay more attention to. So really encouraging our viewers today to pay attention to what you're feeling, how you're showing up in your relationships, how you're responding, how you're reacting, what's your procrastination mood, like all those things could be indicators that it's time to reach out for professional help.
And you were mentioning doing daily check-ins with ourselves. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? You know, there still is stigma when it comes to mental health, when it comes to checking on other people, doing that check-in with others. How do we approach this subject? Because I feel like a lot of times we don't know what to say, and because we don't know what to say, we don't say anything. But how do we check on others and inquire about their mental well-being?
And that's a really good question at the top of the year. So thinking about how would you like for someone to approach you when you're going through a rough time or you're just not showing up your best self, thinking about that approach. So being very mindful, being nice, having that conversation in private, not having that conversation with a group of people or saying demeaning things around, you just don't look right, or you're not acting like yourself, but being more warm and inviting towards that person, just showing that you genuinely care. And that conversation can just go something like this: hey, I love you, I care about you, and I just noticed that you're showing up different, or we didn't see you at this event, or at this event it seemed like something was going on with you, and I just want to bring it to your attention that I love you, I care about you, and here's a resource that I have if you want to reach out to someone. So not just bringing it to their consciousness, but also having a resource that you can give to them for help, to give them that option.
Such great advice and such great words to ask someone. Charlotte, is there anything else, because this is such a big topic, is there anything else that you would want to share with our Live Now from Fox viewers as we all prepare for 2024?
Absolutely. It's this tool that I like to give everyone, and it's something quick that they can grab, and I call it the 3 Ps for 2024. Practicing gratitude, protecting your entryways, and preserving your energy. So the 3 Ps: practice gratitude, protect your entryways, and preserve your energy going into 2024.
So important. I know, and I feel like the first of every year we have these conversations, we hold them close, and then, as you mentioned, months go by and we forget, but so important to just do that daily check-in first thing in the morning, maybe last thing before you go to bed, and just checking on others as well. Charlotte McCullough, licensed mental health counselor, thank you so much for joining us, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.